Hi, so in this video I'm going to be talking about how to configure some initial JavaScript settings. So if you imagine the login page when it first loads, so the very first time the login page loads, it doesn't know how to connect to your database. It doesn't know what languages are available to the app. And for example, if you can't log in and you have to enter in your get a username reminder and you're using phone number, it doesn't know what your country code is in order to validate your phone number. So we have to give it some initial settings just so it even knows how to behave. So those settings are configured inside the source folder. You will see a file called loginconfig.js. So in loginconfig.js, these properties get sent to React before it's even compiled. So then it uses these and starts compiling. So you can see there is a loginconfig.js, and this is the file which you're using when you're running locally, and loginconfig.prod, which is the file which is actually used on a deployed server. So you can see the difference here. When we're running locally, the URLs to the authentication API, the configuration API, the client app, etc., where things should redirect, are all localhost. And on the prod, they're all subdomains. So these get kind of adapted with your live hostname during the deployment process. But you can see there's a couple of hard-coded things that you need to change. You need to change the languages string. So these should be your alpha codes, comma separated for all the available languages that you have in client JSON, which is your content JSON, which we talk about in another video. So comma separated string of languages, and your country code. So your alpha 3 country code for your country. So in my case, it's going to be Ethiopia. So if I had to look at alpha country code Ethiopia, I can see it's ET. I'm just going to check the alpha 3 code because it has to be 3 letters, and that is I think ETH. I think I saw it there. Ethiopia, ETH. Okay. So wherever I see FAR, I'm going to change it to ETH. And that will mean that my country code is Ethiopia. And when I enter in a phone number, it will use the country code for Ethiopia when validating that phone number in the login app. And exactly the same thing in the client file. Oh, sorry, you should also change these labels that you see in the select. So before we've even got the content for the language, we need to know what the select should render. So you can see here, it's a comma separated list of language code colon label, and that just allows you to customize what you see in that select and login page. Client app is a little bit more, there's a few more options here, but it's really just the country code that you want to change and the languages. The other properties are, you shouldn't really edit. If you wanted to add your Sentry DSN, you could put it in there, and then you could get Sentry errors logged from your client application, which is quite useful. We also support LogRocket, which is another third-party kind of React monitoring tool. It's a paid-for tool, so you don't need it if you don't want it, but it's there for you. We'll talk about these dashboard URLs when I'm talking about configuring dashboards in a different video. So once again, it's just really the country code that you need to change in the other prod file. So that's the JavaScript initialization settings. You'll probably notice if you search for the FAR, a few other places where the country code is passed. So it's passed to the gateway microservice as an environment variable. The gateway microservices does some phone number manipulation as well. So make sure wherever you see that, you update it with your country code. You can also see languages as well. Sometimes you want to make sure you've got the same languages string there. In address fields, you can see that the country select by default is set to have its initial value as Farajaland, which is a fake country. So change that to your country code and it will pick it up. And very similarly, there's a nationality select, which will choose Farajaland as its default. So you can change that to Ethiopia as well. So those are the initialization settings that you have to set. Thank you.